Welcome, everybody. We are back with season 2 of Conversations with 1 Million Meditators, and I'm super pumped to be joined today by the fabulous Stormie Grace. Welcome, girl. It's such an honor to have you back here.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It's nice to be back and to be talking about meditation. Yay.
No, it's going to be really exciting, and we're going to tap into a little bit of an energy for the year. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I'll just take a minute and introduce Stormie for those that don't know her. Most astrologers know Stormie from her own successful and entertaining show on YouTube, where she interviews astrologers sharing a wealth of knowledge. Her crowd-funded YouTube Astrology Academy brings the community together by providing free basic astrology classes taught by the finest astrologers from around the world. Stormie has been consulting with individuals and groups in Colorado and around the globe since 2014. She holds a doctorate of business, which enables her to apply those skills to business and mundane astrology as well as personal chart work. And she's a member of so many places. She's in Midheaven Magazine. She's part of Astrology Hub. So just check her out and her YouTube channel. You will find the links below. So, girl, again, it's so great to have you back. And I'm really excited to talk a little bit about the energies this year and how it's looking since, we're kicking off here at the beginning of January.
Yeah, which is it's really interesting because, in terms of like astrology itself, at least Western astrology, we don't actually restart our year until March, right? So in this sense of society, we've changed the calendar and we are in 2022. But I think a lot of people, if we're honest, can feel that we're still in what feels like a really slow continuation of some energy. It's not necessarily like the calendar year, but a continuation of some energy. And as we get to March of 2022, then we actually feel the shift of the energy. So, it's kind of this interesting dynamic between, what does the world say that we're doing and what does the energy say that we're doing, right? And I think that this is a place, as you and I were talking, where I'm seeing the practicality and almost the necessity really for meditation and the quiet time to become much more profoundly useful in each of our lives, because there's a lot of this dynamic of what does the world say and what do I think is right for my life that we are really into right now.
Yes, totally right. And just for those of you watching that know, when I talk about the astrological energy, I kind of look at it as like almost like a weather forecast a little bit in my perception is what's going on, what are the energies in play right now, and then how can we utilize those to kind of like be more in flow and more in harmony with the universe and with our planet and what we're doing, as we're moving forward here through this and kind of navigating it. And another exciting thing that we are going to talk about is Stormie's got some really cool stuff coming up here this year. If you want to learn more about this, a little bit more about energy and astrology and how it can benefit you in your life. So we're going to talk about that as well.
Yay. I know, I'm excited about it. We have actually we've got the YouTube Academy. I was like trying to find a gentle way into it. And the thing is that it's just exciting, and it is what it is. We crowdfunded an academy, a YouTube school of astrology, bringing people in from the history of Western astrology all the way through the basics, and we're continuing on. And as a community, we put that together. It's very much so a symbol of, I think, the energies that are available astrologically. We're grouping more and more and more because I think we're finding individually we don't have the same energetic capacity on our own that we did before. And while we're grouping and coming together to get the necessities in order and to have everyday living and information become more accessible, we're also opening a space for us to do our own unique thing, right? Like really just own our little piece of the pie. What am I passionate about? What am I running towards? Because when we're doing that, we actually make space to let heart and let spirit and let breath guide us into what we're really supposed to be doing. And then we add that deliciousness and that harmony to the whole. So I think that, talking about the YouTube Academy, I just get excited because certainly I didn't see it coming. And then it came together, and here we are as this community creating this school. Now, granted, I'm, back there pulling the astrologers together, getting the lessons together, make sure things that are going up. But it is something that came from and exists for all of us. And now we're ready to continue that into a second year. So we'll begin kickstarting on January 5th to raise funds to crowdfund another year of schooling, but also to leave up the first year. So if people are just hearing about this for the first time, or you've been sitting over there thinking, gosh, I do want to study astrology, or I want to know something else, or I want to know more, and maybe I can't afford it at this time, or I wish there was another resource to be able to do that is very streamlined, besides picking out a whole bunch of different YouTube videos and trying to put them together and make the information work. This is that. This is the answer to that vibration and that question that got put out there. And I'm just so excited about it. So hopefully you guys will hear this and something touches you, or somebody, and you'll jump on and be on board with not just the crowdfunding of it, but the taking part in the lessons that are there. And I have to say this too, that in year one, we learned a lot about how to make it better, more efficient, all of these things. But the thing about year one that happened is, with every teacher's class, we had people stepping in and they were like, this is where I'm at in my life right now. This is exactly what I needed to know about. So it is absolutely, I think, a universal answer to many questions that we've been collectively putting out there for a while. So it's very, very exciting. I'm looking forward to annoying the internet for 35 days and crowdfunding to absolute success.
Yeah, and I'm so excited to watch this because I saw it launch and like birth last year, and I mean it's just been so amazing. And I know for myself personally, when I started seeking out, like, it would have been amazing to have had a resource like this available. So absolutely, for those that speaks to you, please check after in the show notes, in the comments below. You can find the links and head on over, and you'll be able to be a part of it and check it out and see what's going on. So thank you for doing that, because I know it's amazing and it's taken a lot of work to get everybody in community together. But look at the magic, what happens like when you can co-create together, bring all of your expertise and talents and gifts together, and then share it with everybody. It's just so rewarding.
Absolutely. And it is, again, just this vibration that I think that we're seeing, not just in astrology, but in business, in our home lives, everywhere out there, where it's like people are like, I'm exhausted from trying to carry the everything, be the everything, in my home, in my work, in my whatever. Right. And some of our activities and some of our attitudes and behaviors, I think, as we experienced 2022 and we were shut down, we got to see that some of those things became very job like, right? Instead of being this beautiful expression of service into the world and ourselves, we found that I do things just so routinely, or things started to feel like a routine. And instead, bringing these teachers together for me was such a learning experience, because sometimes these people came from the same, yes, Western astrology practice, but different modalities of expressing that. And we had to all come together, learn to work together to create classes that we could have streamlined, but it let people not have to do the everything, right? They just, for 90 minutes, 120 minutes, you own this piece of your expertise, give it completely, put your back into it, and then answer your students and be with them afterwards. And then someone else will continue the message along. I mean, it's just, I don't think it was going to be like this. I thought, oh, cool, we're going to put together this thing that hasn't been done before, and it might be nice. And, I think at first I could see the financial benefit to people that was like, yeah, we all put this together and now here's a school. And as it has gone on, I'm like, oh my God, this is even what many of our societies are changing into. Because I don't know about you, but I've looked around just my life in general and been like, oh, I don't need to do that. That's not my strength or my skill. I can actually hire somebody to do that. And meanwhile, it lets me really do what I do, and it becomes profitable. And it's like, then money and energy and service and love are in motion. And all of that has changed for me, because what it also means is I can breathe more deeply, right? And humans, like when we're stressed out, the first thing we do is hold our breath, right? Think about that. You get stressed out or you get information or you get excited and we just, it's like, why would we cut off our life force? But we do it. And it's the most natural and instinctual thing. And instead, my meditation, which is not always just sitting down, getting into the vibe, but my meditation of being with my breath all day long has changed because I don't have to be the end all be all. I mean, I don't know. What's your experience been?
Actually, I really love that you said that because, with everything that has shifted so much, that is a piece that I know we've been talking a lot over the last year that I've really put intention to into shifting and letting go of things that I used to do and asking for help in other ways because other people could do them better than I can. And that's not necessarily my area of expertise. But what I love about what you said is, yeah, because we sometimes get stressed, we get into that state where we hold our breath and we're like, and like you say, it's our life force. We need to be able to breathe and to use that energy. And when we lighten our load and we have less on our plate, it's easier for us to get into, I think, those deeper states, like those, delta theta brain waves, and really be able to harness and access like our intuition a lot more deeply and get the downloads that come in.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And it's like, if we're supposed to be inspired to do good work, how can I be inspired if there's no space for breath? Right. And so it becomes this wholly different paradigm that I think we get to live in. And it's not just for us personally. Our world is changing and making space for that to come to the forefront. And it's interesting because I've seen too that it doesn't stop big business. It just changes it. We have a world that needs to continue to move forward. And so what we're doing is not necessarily wrong, but how we're getting it done has been quite uninspired for a while. And we're getting to reform that as a community. So I don't know, I think it's profound and it's powerful. And I launched this, completely inspired academy. And I thought I was just going to teach them astrology. And it turns out a year later, I'm like, oh my gosh, we have participated in a change that we just showed up and said yes to.
Yeah, and I love it. I absolutely love it. And, I think a lot of people, and what I'm hoping to do here today is kind of give a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of like energetic excitement and motivation for this year because it's been such a whirlwind lately. So many things have shifted, so many things have changed, so many things have evolved. And, I love what you're saying. Like we've had to change the way that we do things, which is great because, time is ever moving and things are ever changing. But now it's like looking forward to this year in a positive light and going, okay, what shifts did I make last year? And how can I like take that momentum and move it into this year into something really positive despite, all the mess going on?
Mhm. Absolutely. Well, and so talking about the astrology and moving through 2022, the first thing that I want to point out, and I would love people as you're listening to be inspired, is to align this particular concept with how you move and how you breathe and how you participate in your year. Is that, 2022 astrologically, energetically is not a straightforward year. We don't just have forward moving energy. It's not built that way this year. All of the planets that we have that will retrograde, which means that they'll kind of push backwards. They take our focus and our energy in a different direction. So all year long, I mean, we only have a couple weeks during this year where we have just straightforward motion. That's a long time, right? But all year long, we will move forward and then we'll move back. And we'll move forward a little bit and we'll move back. So the entire year is a dance. And yes, it may seem like, of course, Stormy, life is a dance, right? Yeah, no, but some years are genuinely a dance. And we are in that this year. So as you're going and you're moving in your space and living and being and have your being this year, I want you to think about that. This is not meant to be that rush forward. It's just not available to us. So, the nature, I think, of life is that we're built to evolve and to grow and to survive and to thrive. But it is a lot easier when we're doing it under the context of the energy that's actually available. So as you're coming into, and we're here in January of 2022, remember that there's a responsibility, there's an obligation that each of us carry in to apply what we've seen, what we've learned from 2018 all the way until now. What new things, what new ideas, what new attitudes, behaviors, actions, beliefs have come to your consciousness, because now we're required to apply them, see how they work a little bit, nice and slow. Here in January, we're moving nice and slow. And then we're going to back up and see if what we've applied has worked. But there is the responsibility to apply some of the new and take accountable action for our lives to move things forward in the best ways that we can. So that is out of the gate, something I just want you to be aware of in this first 3 months of the year. January, February are nice and slow. We've been given the gift of coming in under a retrograde, and another one will follow in just a couple weeks. So it's like review. Be with where you are. What's valuable to you? Stop here in January. Take an honest inventory of the areas of your life and be constructive about it. Give yourself the breath to look at your finances, or to look at your relationship, look at your body and your health connection, look at your connection with your children, your pets, your daily routine, and ask, is what I've got going on working? And is it still valuable? Right? We're coming in under some of this energy in January that is like, I like to call it the luxury bag energy. Like, it's like, no, I want the very best, right? Like, I want the very best life has to offer me. But the only way we can find it at this particular time is to use this slow energy to get into the truth of what we've got. The truth sets us free. And then as we move forward and we get towards March, then we can gather the resources and the inspiration that we need to make those areas the very best that they can be. And I'm excited about that for us. Then we're going to move forward and get into March. And like I said, the energy will reset for all of us. So if you're feeling a little low and slow, you're feeling like, ooh, I can't be listening to as much, I can't bring in as much, celebrate that. Be with that. Communicate that to the people around you. They'll understand, I promise you. And we get into March and some energy does then start to run forward. And this is the time where I have to tell you, the excitement is the restructuring the systems of our societies globally, but it's also a little bit of a war on ideas, right? Like, we will challenge what we have believed about sex, power, money, work, how I move my energy. And the exciting part about that is that as we get into it, we become freer. We get this new conception and this new idea of, what we owe ourselves in terms of good living, good breathing, good eating, good communicating, right? All of these things. And I will tell you, I think that the gorgeous part of it is that all of our living is beyond our expectations. What we see today, we're cutting ourselves short if we think this is the best or the most inspired we're ever going to be. There's a rush of energy as we get into summer that comes forward for us and is ready to see us be something else. So while 2022, as we're coming in, may feel a little apprehensive and the energy feels slow, I want you to know it's a good year. It's a good year to make good progress, change the path if you need to, but you can only have the courage, I think, to change the path if you've seen it for the truth of what it is. Are you where you need to be? Are you where you need to be and it just doesn't look like what you think it should, so you have some learning? What's the pathway for you? There's a lot of listening and honesty available, even energetically, for us this year. So I hope that that's inspiring. It's not like 2 of you are going to win the lotto this year, so look out. It's not that, but there is a renaissance of listening to our spirituality and our hearts and our breaths this year that the world has made space for if we will respond to it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it. I mean, I find it totally inspiring because it's like sometimes I look at these things like I want to go sailing, but if I got no wind, I'm going to be just sitting there, right? So it's nice to kind of take a look at everything. You know, we are on this planet and we're in this universe and everything is connected. So I find when we could see things from that
Mhm.
perspective, it really, kind of for me, it's inspiring because it's like, okay, well, it's not windy today, but it's going to be windy soon. So let's get everything good and ready, prepared, and make sure we got good food on the boat and good tunes and music and everything. And and really what you're speaking to too as well is like looking at this time to use that meditation practice and really get true with yourself as this really what I want my life to look like on a daily basis because so much has changed. So obviously, how it once was isn't anymore. And, to really have that awareness, and like you say, really answer that question truthfully. Does this feel good? Is it in alignment? Does this serve me anymore? What do I need to shift? What do I need to let go of so I can really step into, my purpose? What are my talents? What are my gifts that I can do and share in this world? Um, that I'm here to bring. It's
Yeah.
it's a cool place to be in.
It is a cool place. And, I'd like to, if I can, really offer January starts out our year with a specific set of energy, and we end in the same energy. And we don't always have that. So this year is very much so bookended by coming in, looking at things, and then having the forward motion at the end of the year. But they're the exact same energetic patterns. So we are locked or placed, if it's a better wording, into very specific positions. So I do want to share with you guys listening, tapping in today, that right now, as we're here in January, the intensity of the energy, we'll see it again in October. And these are two very specific time frames that I want you to hone in on, because what's happening is that Venus and Mars, which are planets of relationship and action and strategy, they don't retrograde every year. So they do like every other year, every 2 years, right? They are retrograding this year. Venus, we're under that retrograde right now. Mars will happen as we get into October. So at this particular time, if it feels like there's a lot of thinking about the past, nostalgia, reminiscing going on from you, projects, people, places, and things coming back into your life, even if it's just mentally. I want to be clear that the energetic pattern right now is about either reuniting with that and coming back into it and use it really fully, or learning the lessons for closure. So because both of these planets hold such an important, they're personal planets, they're close to us, so we do feel them, we very much so feel them, but because they hold that level of importance in our lives and our relationships, truly, if you've got an ex or soulmate, or I hesitate to use the word twin flame because I'm not a fan of it, or if you have these things showing back in your life right now, there's a special intimacy I want you to explore with it. Give yourself the availability to do it, right? Did you have somebody in your life, or a time in your own existence and being, where you had the most passionate sex or sexual relationship or sexuality connection to? Were there people that you felt like you competed with, right? These are my competitors. You may feel that a lot in October, and they're coming back up right now. The opportunity that's available to you in these 2 months is about learning the lessons that you need to from those relationships, finding the closure that you need to move on so that you're not carrying that baggage or that idea anymore. And I will say that I do think it is the exception this year that some people will come back into contact with these projects or people or states of being. And if the time separated from that person or that event, if you've used it and they've used it and it's used it to evolve and to grow, this is where I think you're offered the opportunity to rekindle with some really new, different energy. But January and October, what's the truth of where you are next to what's come back into your life? Are both sides ready to grow? And if the answer is no, this year, this time frame can feel heavier, but it is about the universe offering a closure. And I have to put that out there 1,000% because we're human. We're susceptible to the energies around us. But if we're honest, there's a big space of progress given to us. That was all deep. Sorry.
I love when you get all on your roll. I could just listen to you for hours. I love it. I absolutely love it. And for those of you watching, please say hello, post in the comments, tell us where you're joining us from. We always love to hear from you. And if you happen to be catching this on the replay, hashtag replay, and if it's on the podcast and you can leave us a review, we always appreciate that. Okay. So this crowdfunded astrology YouTube Academy of yours is kickstarting up here right away. Where can everybody go? Like, let's talk about that. Where can they go to find out more information about this? Because I'm sure they're very curious. I am. I mean, I know where to go, but
Absolutely. So we're going to start January 5th. So we're just a couple days away from that. I will make sure that there is a link available for you underneath the show notes in the bio, all of that good stuff. You can come to my YouTube channel, which is Stormie Grace on YouTube. You'll also be able to go to my website at stormiegrace.com. If you just happen to even search us on Google, you can find us on the Kickstarter website right there. And there will be postings amongst postings. I will absolutely be in your presence over this next 35 days. So I will make sure that information is absolutely available, findable, and accessible to you, because I look forward to having you with us on the journey all year long, showing you. And in exchange for the donation, we have come up collectively as teachers and myself with wonderful rewards for you, from classes, readings, playlists, individual lessons that will be available. We've got a beautiful digital calendar from one of our teachers that will show you where the planets and the energies are all year long, so you can know those transits and how to use them and see when the times are lighter and easier. And yes, definitely make that decision today, or maybe low and slow and hold. But it's not a throw your money at us for nothing. We want this to be a genuine energetic exchange for everything that's going on. So beautiful rewards available for you as well. So I'm really looking forward to it. And then you can travel with us through year one if you're new, come into year two, where we are advancing the concepts and taking it more to an intermediate level. And I will tell you, the thing that I love about this particular Kickstarter and the way that I'm able to do this is I'm providing you not just the esoteric and metaphysical backgrounds. This is the education. How do I do that? What does that mean? Where do I put this number? What's the math behind that? This is the schooling, the technical schooling for astrology. And yes, you also get the opportunity to meet these various different teachers and see, is one of them your mentor, right? Do you want to go deeper, or do you want to stop right here and you just happen to like the way this person talks about astrology and it resonates with you? The whole thing is an energetic exchange of really using astrology, not just intuition, astrology, to allow you to advance your life and go more deeply. Because, you know, we can have a lot of things in our life. We can have a lot of width to our life. Astrology in this form is allowing you to go a little bit deeper. And that's where I think the good stuff is at.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, absolutely. So looking forward to that. So, okay. So for those that are watching, because I know we have some here that, you know, are kind of entrepreneurs and stuff too, and might be a little bit curious. I know you've also got something coming up in relation to business and astrology, and kind of utilizing the two to move your business forward. So if you don't mind, would you just share a tiny little bit about that for those that are curious?
Absolutely. I will actually, in various different forms, on many different platforms all year, be
Mhm.
talking and teaching about this subject. It's very cool. I've built a few businesses using the techniques I'm going to teach and share about. So I'm available all year long. You can just follow me at stormiegrace.com to figure out exactly where I'll be and at the times that I'm teaching it. So there's a slot that works in for you. But starting here in January, I'll actually be teaching along with Nadia Shah at Synchronicity University. And so we'll be putting together, we've got a class going and we're just walking for the next 5 weeks through how do you use astrology to build a business? What does this need to look like? It's very energetically sound, but it's also highly practical because I have seen it. I have a doctorate degree in business and I have seen companies have the best idea and they're so energetically exhausted because the structure is not right. So it doesn't give room for that thing to bloom and really get delicious. And I've also seen people just build traditional businesses and not understand, the cycles of when that business is changing. And that's where astrology really comes in because it's a very specific roadmap. It says, here's your business, here's the energetic state of your business currently, and here's what the energetic state of your business will be in 3.5 years. How do you adjust your products, right? How do you adjust your energy with your business's energy so that you are working smarter, not harder, and being able to provide that business the beautiful 1,000% that you've got to give? Because in human life and in business life, we go through cycles that everybody goes through. Nobody's exempt from them. And some years of your cycle are like 100%. You're like, yes, I'm getting after it. And you've got that to give. And some cycles, you've got like 30% to give, but we just need you to give 100% of that 30%, and that business will grow and thrive. So I get excited about that because it's what I do, right? It's how I work my business over here, and it's how I help professionals, I think, whether they be, in the metaphysical community or just in big business, not suffer so much burnout, right? Why do you
Mhm.
think big business has such big teams? It's not because they need all those hands to get things done. It's because they need people to be in different seasons and cycles where
Mhm.
they're taking different leads. And half the time we don't even consider that.
Yeah, which is such a good point. It's such a good point. And I always like I like to relay things too back for people that are new to this to kind of something a little bit practical and tangible. And so, even just thinking about like farmers and planting their seeds in the springtime and needing them to grow and have that harvest time and where we pick them, it's a very delicate timing with that. We don't just go and plant the seeds and a month later start picking the vegetables because they're not ready. So when we're talking about cycles and things like that, I look at it that way because energetically there is a better time to do things than other times when we're really wanting to live in flow and in harmony with the universe, and nature and how that goes. So I get all excited about that too. I'm like, let's go, let's dive into this. It's a lot of fun. So for
Yeah.
those of you that are interested, find out more, definitely connect with Stormie, find out how you can learn more or work with her in that way because she is phenomenal. She's absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you. Yes. I look forward to having you guys and interacting with you and just helping where I can.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I guess in leaving here, do you have a suggestion or recommendation for those that want to kind of look at this year and say, okay, here's an opportunity. I didn't see it this way now. How can I use my meditation practice and maybe some journaling to really like hone in on these energies and tap into this? Do you have
Yeah.
a
Absolutely.
suggestion
Well,
there?
first of all, I would be crazy to not tell you to come watch your yearly horoscope on my channel. They are put up for all 12 signs and you can watch for your sun sign and listen and sit and think, okay, where does this resonate for me in my life and in my world right now? And that's a perfect place to take that into some really delicious journaling to have the guidance, right? To think about that. The other thing is, I think if you don't want to do that or you're not interested in like going all hard with the astrology, that's fine. Think about it like Tara was talking about in terms of cycles. Find out which sign cycle we're in. Like we're in the season of Capricorn right now. This is a wonderful way. Just read what Capricorn season is about. You can look that up on Google. You can listen to a video that takes like 4 minutes and then take that to your meditation, right? Are you grounded? Do your foundations feel solid? Do you feel like you are achieving and you have structures in place that support your success, right? These are practical, easy ways to bring the astrology and bring the connection with the world that you live in into your life and see if you are in alignment. It's very practical, it's very easy. So I would recommend doing that. The other thing I will highly recommend is don't be afraid to challenge the information of your life right now, right? We have had lifelong conceptions about ourselves and the stories that we tell ourselves about who I am, who I have to be, how this has to get done, how this has to look. Don't be afraid, or be afraid and do it anyways, to challenge or have somebody challenge your reality. This is the space of growth. This is the space of growth. It's if what you're doing in your life is working for you 100%, you're happy, you're full, the people you're connected with and who you have impact on are also growing, then maybe you don't need to worry about that. But if that's not what your life or the areas of your life that you want to look at growing look like, don't be afraid to let someone else challenge your reality by becoming a resource in your life. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I absolutely love that. Well, and I think it's really been true this last year. I think we've had a lot of shifts where our identities have been attached to something, maybe a particular career path or a job path for a really, really long time. And now we're recognizing that that maybe just doesn't sit with us the same way it does anymore. I don't identify with that the way I used to anymore. And how can I look at it from a perspective of evolvement and growth, and where is that moving me into? So I totally love it.
Yeah. Well, and if I've never seen anybody go in the direction that I'm feeling like I should go, I've only got my own ideas of what it should look like. And those might not be efficient enough to get me there. So it really is. I mean, we are challenging our information this year, but it doesn't, you do not have to fight your way through the struggle, but we do have to engage it. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So go ask 10 people, a few questions.
Questions, right? Just a few questions.
Ask a few questions about yourself, your brain.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good. It's good. Oh, well, this has just been so awesome. I always love connecting with you, and I love talking about the energy and sharing that with others, because I found it so instrumental in my path, in learning about it and being able to utilize it as a tool, and in my meditation practice, and feeling into those energies. When I enter even a meditation practice and I know like the moon is in a certain cycle, I'll approach it a little bit differently. How I do it is a little bit differently, and I find there's a really great benefit to that. So I hope that this has been inspiring to those out there that have been listening in. Maybe they've gotten some takeaways from it, and if you do, drop in the comments, let us know, tell us about it. I would love to hear. So
Absolutely.
And is there anything you want to leave us with before you go? I mean,
listen, I love you guys. Like, I don't even know you personally. I've not sat with you likely, but I just love you. Wherever you're at, being a human is a lot. And I just love you. Where you're at, whatever you're working on, you are freaking perfect right where you're at. Just grow where you're planted. And I just love you.
Well, I love that. So thank you to those that have joined on today. And thank you, Stormie. It's just such an honor to have you here on the platform and sharing your wealth of knowledge with everybody. It's incredible. So I appreciate that. Thank you. And again, for those of you that are watching on #replay, let us know where you're joining from, and look in the show notes below where you can find out more about the YouTube Academy and how to connect with Stormie. And we will be back again next week. So thank you, and bye for now.